welcome back to my channel. I'm Jade of Jaded Reader, and today I'm doing my December wrap-up. In the month of December, I read a total of 8 books. 7, 8, 9. Right, it was 9, sorry. In December, I read a total of 9 books, and I'm going to be listing them in ascending order, starting from my least favorite book all the way to my favorite book of the month. If you are wondering what my stars mean, like what my 5-star means versus my 1-star, I have my super subjective star system down below. That'll tell you what a 5-star means to me. First up on my list is actually going to be pretty surprising to a lot of people. I know it's not a very popular opinion. The first up on my list is Reaper at the Gates by Saga. This is the third in the Ember and the Ashes series, and it took me a really long time and a lot of motivation to read. I don't know what it was, because I really enjoyed the first 2 in the series, and this one for me just took a really long time to get into. I buddy read this with Rachael Marie at Rachael Marie Book Junkies, and I think in doing that, I was able to have a lot of my feelings on this series validated. In the beginning of this series, a lot of the world building is explained, and I felt pretty confident going into this world. However, as the books progressed, I felt really overwhelmed by all of the different magic systems and their myths and lore, all of their different countries and the wars and the politics and the people. I was really uninterested in Leah and Elias, 2 of the 3 main characters in this book's perspectives, and it just took me forever to get into. I read the first like 200 pages twice. I was not very happy while reading this book. Now, around page 270, I started to become interested, but I never really fully grasped what was going on, and that really disappointed me because this is such a rich and vibrant world. However, it felt a little bit like Saga had just expected you to know things in and out the same way she did, and I didn't feel there was enough explanation and connection with the characters for me to get the full experience. So I ended up giving Reaper at the Gates 3 out of 5 stars. I believe that this is a quartet, so I will be continuing on. I'm hoping that this one just happens to be my least favorite in an excellent series, but I will need a lot more exposition for the next book. After that, I had Devada, which is Volume 3 in Buddha by Osamu Tezuka. I very much so am intrigued by this series. I really am glad that I reread this. I read it during the Witchathon, and I'm glad that I went back through it because there's a lot of character development in this one that I had forgotten about. So while this is a very good book, it is very heavy, and a lot of the very violent moments in this book, for me, don't always have very strong reasons behind them. I would like to see the series moving forward with a bit more purpose behind some of the brutality, because a lot of the times I felt like the lesson was a little weak compared to the moment and the impact it had on the characters. But otherwise, it's an excellent read. I am really looking forward to getting the next one, and I ended up giving Devada 4 out of 5 stars. Then I listened to the audiobook Kiss of Deception. This book started off really strong for me, had kind of a slow middle, and then really picked up at the end. By the end, I'm so glad that I listened to everyone's advice and I continued on, because about at the halfway mark, I was deciding what I wanted to do moving forward, because I just wasn't as happy with how it was going so far. It kind of felt like it was dragging, and people on Twitter told me to keep moving forward, push on through, and I really ended up enjoying it. Because of the lag time in between, though, I did end up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really good book, and I'm hoping that the rest of the series has a lot better pacing. It was very romance heavy, but it was just like it wasn't smut romance. It was just like flirty, will they, won't they romance that didn't have enough for me. But I very much so enjoyed the ending of it, and the mystery behind the perspectives is a very interesting concept. I thought it was very creative and really well done. I kept on going back and forth between who is the assassin, who is the prince, and I could never quite get my clues straight, so that was a lot of fun to read. After that, I had Ruin and Rising on audiobook. I ended up giving Ruin and Rising 4 out of 5 stars, much better than Siege and Storm. A very solid ending for me. I know a lot of people do not like the ending and the pairings at the end of Ruin and Rising, but I felt that every character that did or did not end up with the other was well deserved. I quite honestly didn't care for 2 of the main characters and the main love interests. I didn't care for Mal for Siege and Storm, and then leading into this book, I did end up liking Mal, but it was like a long journey, and I didn't like Mal. I felt neutral towards Mal versus having disdain for him. I also didn't care for Alina, who is the main character of this entire series, and I don't feel like she got that much better in Ruin and Rising. In fact, she makes some decisions that, to me, that's essentially what it sums up to. I did not like Mal. I didn't like Alina. I thought the Darkling was smoking hot, but not my type, and I'm in love with Nikolai. So while I'm super excited for King of Scars, I ended up just giving Ruin and Rising a solid 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm kind of glad glad it's over, but I'm also really glad that I got the entire background knowledge on it. Do not regret reading the series all on its own. I just was whelmed by the series as a whole. I just finished the 6th volume in Saga. It was absolutely excellent. I haven't given Saga less than a 4-star. This one was especially good as far as some of the humor went, and I just really enjoy these characters. The reason why it's not at the very top of my list for my 5-star reads is because they're consistent. I'm not incredibly wowed by them, but I stay in a constant state of awe. I know what I'm getting, and I'm happy each time. After that is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. Shadow of the Fox I ended up buddy reading with Sarah, Leah, and Madison. We had so much fun reading this book together and so much fun talking about this book. It really added to the whole experience. I ended up giving Shadow of the Fox 4.5 out of 5 stars. I took a half point off because I really wanted Julie Kagawa to just dig in deeper to everything that this world and the characters had to offer. The main character, I just wanted more of all of the wonderful things that I liked about her. From the story, I just wanted it to be wrapped up and completed just a little bit more. There were quite a few moments in there where I thought were going to mean more than they eventually did, and that was a bit disappointing for me. But because this book was so saturated with culture and mysticism and just overall a very good journey and a good read, I ended up really enjoying it, and it got its 4.5-star rating. Then I have The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. I absolutely adored this book. I think it's really important to read the author's foreword and the author's endnote. I've never read the author's foreword and endnote. I can honestly say maybe like twice. But in this, it's part of what makes this book. This book is not a book with a plot. It's not a book where it has a lot of dialogue, and he explains that in the very beginning. You are forewarned. So anyone who's giving this book less than 5 stars, I would like to have a conversation with you. An open dialogue. I don't want to argue with you. It's gonna be fine. I just want to talk. Because the way he writes this book is so beautiful, so magnificent, and so intricate. I was blown away by it. His reasons for writing this book were very pure and very just creative. This felt like a creative writing project that deserved an A+. It felt like poetry in story form. I really loved Ari, which is our main character. I'm so glad that she got more of a spotlight on her because I loved her in The Name of the Wind, but I always wanted more from her, and I got it in this. So I gave, of course, The Slow Regard of Silent Things a 5 out of 5 star, and then we have our last 2 5-star reads. These were absolutely phenomenal. These made my December experience. I have Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nung. This was such a wonderful book. I know it's hyped right now. I know you've heard it a million times, but there's a reason why. I do put a trigger warning out there for rape culture and sexual assault. This has to do with a emperor's concubine and all of his concubines. It was a very powerful book, but there are trigger warnings attached to it. So if that's something that upsets you, I do advise that you think about that before going into it. It's a very strong theme in this book, but it is incredibly well done. It has excellent queer representation. I also really appreciated that Natasha put in at the very beginning of the book, not at the end or not at all, she put it at the very beginning talking about the trigger warnings. I think more books should do this, and I really just appreciated it. Even though it's not a trigger that personally affects me, I still liked to know that going in so that I could prepare for it. It's still something that is very disturbing. Apart from that though, it has amazing Japanese culture and folklore. It has half human, half demons. The magic system and the world building is really fleshed out for only being in 2 central locations throughout the entire book. I was very impressed with how much I understood of this world by the end of it. So I'm happily giving Girls of Paper and Fire 5 out of 5 stars. Then, if you know me, if you've watched my vlogs, in fact, I don't think if you've watched any of my videos whatsoever, you could get away with not knowing this, but my favorite book of this month was Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Okay, guys. Look at this book, memorize it. This is the cover. Go read the series. The first one is Nevermore. Read that one first, then read Wondersmith. Because this book This series is phenomenal. I have not loved something like this and felt like this in a very long time. And I know I say that every single time I bring up this book, but I can't help it. It's true. And I'm not trying to fight Harry Potter or anything like that, but that is the last time I felt like this. It's not Harry Potter. It's something completely different. It's all its own. It stands alone, and it is standing strong. Morrigan is a wonderful main character. She's an interesting, quirky girl. I absolutely am in love with Jupiter North. I've come to terms with it. I don't love Jupiter North. I'm in love with Jupiter North, who is her mentor. This is 5 out of 5 stars, but honestly, no, it's 6 out of 5 stars. This is my channel. I can do what I want. This is a 6 out of 5 star book. And with that, that's my entire December. I was really happy with this month. There's a couple of books I'm currently reading and didn't get to finish, but that's okay. I'm happy I finished as many as I did. I hope next month can be almost as good as this one, and I hope you are enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. And until next time, bye! Bye, Natasha Nang. Nong. I have to sneeze. I want to make sure I don't have, like, snot dripping out my nose. So I'm happily giving I almost said Princess of Paperback. Madison, you get 5 out of 5 stars. Fucking, I almost did it again. Because I'm gonna wait for my camera to focus again, which I don't. Come here. I'm tired of this. You need to stop yelling at me. That's not how you talk to people. You don't think I'm killing you. Well. I just had, like, a battle of wills in eye contact with my cat. And I won.